Man, we're not in Kansas anymore.
No, we're not. Hey, Thomas, how you doing?
Oh, good. Yes, I had my own adventure, much like Dorothy
Yeah,
from The
fill us in
Wizard of
on that.
Oz. Yeah, I live in Arkansas, Jacksonville in particular, and we had a little bit of a tornado that ran through central Arkansas a few days ago, and yeah, it was a little too close for me. Yeah, I between me and my younger sister, I live with my mom. There's like a mile difference to where she was working and our house, and the tornado kind of just ran in between us about a
Hmm.
half mile, half mile away. So yeah, it was cutting it a little close. The thing was, I work at night on my regular job. This is our passion project here. But on my day to day job, yeah, I work at night. So I was asleep. So I woke up and the sirens were going off, and yeah, it's like what in the world's going on? So by the time I woke up, the thing had already passed, but we had no power, nothing. But we still had a house, so that was we're a leg up on a lot of people, unfortunately, that kind of lost a lot of stuff. And in fact, my sister said one of the people that works with her, his apartment was hit, and him and his pets had nowhere to go, so he was looking for an apartment quickly. And uh, the great thing was, her and her coworkers got together and helped him look, and I think they found him a place relatively quickly. So that was good. But yeah, there's a website called helparkansas.com. And yeah, if you feel inclined to donate, or if you're able to, this is the website you can go to. We'll put the links down below in the description as well. But yeah, I know I was vastly lucky. Within a few hours, we had power back by 10 o'clock, and which was crazy because
Wow.
normally when power goes out everywhere, we're
Yeah.
usually the very last people to get power back. Those you could watch that map on the on the website where the places that were getting power back. The last time we checked, yeah, it was like shrunk down to where it was just us, and we finally got our power back. So yeah, the fact that we had it within hours, where others might still don't have power, and then once we got power back, we didn't have internet until Sunday evening. But yeah, I mean that was a minor inconvenience as opposed to what could have happened. So, you know,
Oh,
but like
absolutely.
yeah, like you're
Yeah.
saying, we're you're along with me in the tornado alley. So,
Yeah, I was worried,
mhm.
when that happened, and I was like, "Oh, wait a second, Arkansas." And had to uh, check the news thing, and it's
Mhm.
like, sure enough, there was like some video
Mhm.
I found of, like some wreck.
Yep.
And Another friend of mine I was talking to, um, their their kiddo is down there, adult kiddo is down there,
Mhm.
and they're around the same area as where you are. And they
Mhm.
said that they were going out and helping chainsaw and stuff and freeing up
Yeah.
stuff and trying to cobble together a little bit of what the ravage that happened or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I want to echo that 100% of what Thomas said. Yeah, this website is going to be in the topmost link in the description here when you're watching this. If you could take, of course, this will be released on Wednesday, and it doesn't matter; they're still going to need help. And
Yeah.
I'll also include just a really quick page of like if you want to donate directly to a source instead of some big thing. You want to go more directly to the people in need. Tons and tons of
Mhm.
suggestions here too. Matter of
Yep.
fact, the Red Cross was one that we were just
Yep.
talking about. Yeah, it was years and years ago that Little Rock is a very beautiful city, and you wouldn't think that, but it has its own charm. It's really cool. Because
Mhm.
I went to school a very long time ago at North Little Rock at Camp
Mhm.
Robinson, and
Mhm.
North Little Rock is a little bit of a different story. But you know what? I
Mhm.
live in St. Louis, and you lived in St. Louis, so you know what? It's really not that. If you can make your way around St. Louis, then you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But and I've been to other cities like Baltimore and all. I'm no stranger to you got to walk with purpose. But in any case, I'm filibustering here. I always remember going downtown to Little Rock, and there's just the highways in and out are just beautiful. They were really fun. I got to go down there. It was during summer. It was a blast. I really
Well,
enjoyed it. But that part of Little Rock, and Jackson and other areas got hit really hard. So
yeah.
any help is
Yep.
greatly needed.
Yep. And we're not out of the woods yet. I hear we
Oh
have
no.
some storms coming tomorrow night, but I think the tornado levels are really low at this point. So we should be out of the worst of it. But yeah, you never know with the how crazy the weather is. But yeah, and like you're saying, how Arkansas is a beautiful state. We're called the natural state, and aren't called that just for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
when you
beautiful.
get up into the north, up into the hills and stuff, with all the trees and everything, it looks gorgeous up there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Up in
Great.
the Ozarks.
Oh yeah. Yep. There's a lot of lakes too, in and out on the border of Missouri and Arkansas. Beautiful,
Hmm.
beautiful place to go camping or hang out or enjoy nature. But in any case,
Hmm.
yeah, we just wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time on that and see if you can help. You can anyway.
Hmm.
And we're very, very glad that Thomas and family are okay. So
Yep.
that's all
Me
that.
too.
Yeah, it would suck to lose your house, but people are irreplaceable for sure. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted also to give a quick plug to our latest show, Scott Pilgrim versus the Nerdom, where we cover that very famous cult classic film. It was pretty fun, and we also have some follow-up news to that in this show as well in this week's grab bag. But
Yep.
for now,
Oh, and I
go
was
ahead.
going to say before we go on, I was going to just mention we also have a Fantastic Four. Last week we did Fantastic Four. John Burns run on it, and during that we talked about Galactus, and we were talking about how he was a force of nature. I sure hope I didn't call upon the powers that be to call upon the force of nature of a tornado, but I just thought that was just kind of interesting that we were talking about how yeah, Galactus was a force of nature, and then one just
That's true.
literally tore through my my neighborhood. So
Yeah. That was the trial of Reed Richards that we covered very
hmm.
much in depth with the original art. I might add. I don't think there are too many YouTubers doing that in the comic book space. I could be wrong. I follow a few. I know you do
Uh,
too. But some guys are more talking about the physical, the political layer of things, which
yeah,
is fine.
yeah.
I certainly have my favorites for that too.
Hmm.
God knows
Yep,
most of my entertainment is on YouTube. Period. End of
yep.
discussion.
But I stepped on your toes on your introduction of Scott Pilgrim, but yeah.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, we're here. We're very grateful we picked up quite a few subscribers in the last few weeks. Very
Hmm.
happy to have you on board. We'd love to hear from you. I
Hmm.
think as we are growing a community, we would love to hear back from that community and have that back and forth. And that'll probably
Hmm.
happen a little bit more organically when we hit a little bit higher numbers. But like
Yep.
Thomas said at the top of the show, this is passion play, and we definitely have fun doing this because
Hmm.
to me, I've been exposed to a lot of cool films, especially horror. And you'll see that in our back catalog, which I
Hmm.
think we're up to 114 videos,
Hmm.
115 counting this one. But yeah, we also have a few interviews here and there. So
Yep.
check out those. And so I probably should make a playlist of all our playlists for our
Our
interviews.
interviews, yeah, that'd be a cool idea.
And then
Um,
I just wanted to kind of, but it looks like we dipped down a little bit. We're down in the
serious. Yeah.
valley a little bit, but that's okay. We'll be right back up to hopefully
Hmm.
A. Maybe one day we'll hit A.
Yep.
And of course, I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but all the amount of money that we've made is just
Yeah.
making it rain in
Yeah,
pennies.
all those, like you said, all those shekels. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, like you were saying, we talked about Scott Pilgrim on our podcast, and yeah, we had some news right about Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, we did. Let me pull that one up here, and then we can go right into it. Oh gosh, I just had it. Good grief.
Yep,
Let's see.
but
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
we talked about Scott Pilgrim versus the Nerdom. That's our podcast where we went over that movie from 2010. Excellent movie. We both enjoyed it. Thumbs up. Definitely check the movie out if you haven't. Check out our podcast once you do, and
Edgar
find
Wright.
out what our opinion on it. And we always like to give a little fun facts. So there's a lot of facts to have fun with in that one. But yeah, we've got a anime that's adaptation coming out for Scott Pilgrim. Edgar Wright, the director of the 2010 movie, uh, announced on Twitter that they're making an anime with heavy involvement with the creator of the comic book, Brian Lee O'Malley, and they're all of the cast are returning to do the voices for it.
Very cool. Yeah, yeah. All the original cast members. That's very cool. So, that just goes to show you that there is a secondary Halo knock-on effect of being a big fan and being vocal in your love for your shows. This is one of many tales like where folks really want to hear or see something, and people were the powers that be were listening. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So are you excited to see this one come out?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's obviously in the early stages, but it's
Sure.
just got announced. So, but yeah, it'll show up on Netflix, which love or hate Netflix, they do have some cool stuff on there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can always tune in and tune out. So that's how it goes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, everything, something's cool until it gets too big, and then everybody hates it, right?
yep, yep, yep. I was gonna say to slide right into some cool news. That DC news real quick. That there is a couple of things I wanted to cover real quick. So I saw this article, and it's basically just saying James Gunn has a unique style, and of course, he's going to be taking Superman. It's supposed to be a younger era Superman,
Hmm.
something like that. We're not quite sure, but as things develop, we'll get better at it over time. But he's also very um, prodigious on Twitter. So he likes to mix it up with the fans,
Hmm.
and there's some good and bad that comes from that. I would rather have that than not,
Hmm.
and I don't sure the other the cynics are going to pick it apart every little thing they say, or the Schneider nerds, which I still don't believe there are, or like the Schneider army that go after him for Superman.
there may be one or two of the Snyder Army, and the rest are probably bots.
Yeah. And I covered we covered a little bit. Like there is another YouTuber, the Den of Geek, or Den of Nerds, something like
Hmm.
that. He got into it with them on Twitter and whatever. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. I don't care. But anyway, he's saying that basically, hey, this isn't going to be an easy road, but
Hmm.
but I think that he knows how to make something. I hope so. Again, I'm very positive. And that it sucks that Henry Cavill had to go away for a little bit. But you know what? I mean, let's be real. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Like I was just talking to my brother-in-law about this a couple weeks ago. It's like, well, you know what, nerds? Maybe you need to invent a time machine and go back in 2012 and and go watch the movie because it just didn't make a lot of money. I like Man of Steel, but the thing is, we have to be realistic. That he was 30 back then. He's 40 now. You can't really he can't really do a young Superman like Gunn and Vision. So I'm on board with it. I want to get.
Yep.
I'd rather give him the latitude. And we've already
Yeah.
seen two. Unfortunately for DC, the last two movies that have been released
Yeah.
this year up
Just.
to this point. Well, I've seen both of them. Was the Shazam 2, which is
Mhm.
fine enough, but it's not it's not great. But I saw it more out of loyalty to seeing because we saw the first Shazam and we wanted to see that, so me and the kids went and
Mhm.
saw it. I had fun, and
Mhm.
what more can you ask for a movie? It
Exactly. Yeah.
kind of sucks that it didn't get bigger, but
Hmm.
and then I think the other one was
Black Adam was it?
yeah, Black Adam. That
Hmm.
was actually ended last year, but yeah, that was good. I like that. I really enjoyed it. Again, just to make the numbers, and then
Mm-mm.
anyway, leading on to this, so full faith and credit in James Gunn, Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to. I'm just a fan. I just want to see good quality,
Yep.
content made. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, with that being said, they released the trailer today, and it so far has been. I enjoyed it. I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
you, but I was gonna say I think we were gonna do like maybe
A
a
react.
live reaction. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it yet. Yeah, we might want to do this on a separate video.
sure.
That way this doesn't get claimed. We'll do like a little 5-10 minute reaction to it. So check that out. We'll probably release that along with
Yep,
this grab bag.
yep.
And
We'll do
but yeah.
a DVD supplemental. or
Exactly. Yeah, that way. So if you're kind of curious and want to watch it along with us, we'll do that. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, so you'll get my real reaction to it. And if you like this, we'll do more reactions. So yeah, check that out.
Absolutely.
After you check this grab bag out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I got two on there, but anyway, it looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see, but it'll be really interesting. Of course, the other DC movie, the really big, heavy one that they're putting all the eggs in that basket is the Flash movie. But
Yeah.
anyway, moving on to a little bit more negative news. We have what was that? James Gunn. Oh no, that was sorry. I meant to we'll that cover that in a minute. But anyway, so yeah, you shared this Bob Iger. What's going on
Yeah.
with Marvel?
Yeah. Well, Bob Iger laid off 7,000 people. I think you heard about last week.
Yep.
Along,
Yep.
one of them among the 7,000 was this guy
Ike,
Perlmutter. He's
yeah,
the
Ike Perlmutter.
Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the Marvel chairman. He's the guy that sold Marvel comics to Disney. And there was a kind of antagonistic relationship between Bob Iger and Isaac Perlmutter. This article kind of touches on it. Perlmutter was against female-led superhero movies. He was the one that kind of, if you're wondered why the Black Widow movie took forever to get made and come out, was because he ran interference. He didn't like that they were going to do a Black Widow movie or a Miss Marvel, not because just because from previous incarnations, those movies, female-led superhero movies, usually flopped, so he kind of was against them doing those. But everyone's speculating because he was pretty much the only one of the people in charge of Marvel Comics. So they're wondering how this will affect it, since they're bringing in this totally under the umbrella of Disney and Marvel Disney. However, I think they said the president of Marvel Entertainment, which is the comic books, is kind of stepping up, and there was that intermediary of Isaac Perlmutter between Bob Iger and the president, and then so the president of Marvel looks like it's Dan Buckley. He's going to be the head guy, but from from other people that I watched and respect, he said that there's Marvel Comics, comic books industry in general is such a niche kind of business that even though it's being brought under direct control from Disney, there's probably not going to be a huge change up with it. They'll probably still let it be and let it run the way it has been being run. Just because that you'd really have to kind of dig in and kind of break down the whole business. And like I said, it's kind of a niche business. You really have to know the ins and outs of it to really make any effective changes within it. And Disney probably don't. It makes so little money for Disney that they probably we'll just let it be, and just be kind of that kind of idea generator, that
Right, the content
for them.
farm.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't expect for any big changes within the comic book arm of it to change that much.
No, they kind of stick to the basics there. Nothing super
Hmm.
unique. Like it's a moneymaker, but it's more important to have
Yep.
that around. And Disney's
Yeah.
been steward
Yeah.
of it for far longer than 10 years, a
Hmm.
decade plus.
Yeah.
And for the most part,
Hmm.
they've handled it very well. It's pretty much the I kind of make fun of it a little bit, and I just call it. And this is true with Star Wars too.
Hmm.
Marvel, anything is going to be. It's a money printing machine, and the only difference is if they're going to print a little bit of money or a metric S ton.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
But
think Bob Iger just kind of took it as a opportunity to remove a thorny thorn in his side.
sure. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Since
Well,
he's
when you're streamlining things, that includes the leadership track too, the leadership
hmm
pipeline, so to speak, for
yep.
decision making. And with that said, I was going to say I had watched this a little bit ago today, and this is from Midnight's Edge, one of the things I like to watch. But they were speculating here, and they've been pretty much on point for the last several years. They've been kind of the last few years, like where you just kind of had this declining level of quality. It's kind of
Hmm.
if you read between the lines, all these changes and shifts in Disney with Iger, the fact is that it's the quality is not been there. And we know
Hmm.
this because some of these things they're trying to do with phase, whatever the hell it is, phase B7
Hmm.
alpha. I'm kind of making fun. It's phase 5, whatever it is, but we're not as wildly successful as like. I mean, for crying out loud, you had two back-to-back Avengers movies that were $2 billion+ that set records. And
Hmm.
lately, the last big hit they had was the Spider-Man one, which we covered in our back catalog. If you
Hmm.
care to watch that, but we cover that, and we talk about Thor as well. But in any case, I think we watched both of those. But anyway, in any case, Disney they were just kind of covering the in between the lines, and they also removed or let Victoria Alonso go as well
Hmm.
in the Marvel side of house. I think she
Yeah.
was but anyway, it doesn't matter. But and actually, there's a pending lawsuit with her to Disney. So that's gonna. It's not if these people are smart. And I can imagine, for example, the guy that was in there before the Iger replaced, who was doing not a
Yeah.
great job. I'm sure he had a fat payday. Is like keep your mouth shut, and you're gonna go from rich to being mega rich. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Victoria Alonso will be duly compensated when they settle or whatever they do.
Right.
So that because there's not going to be blood in the water for long. But changes are afoot, and they're cutting all their budgets down, which is also why they're hemorrhaging people. And it sucks to lose your
Hmm.
job, no matter how it happens. So that's I don't want to lose sight of that either, but or mention it at least in passing. But
Yeah.
check this out if you want a little bit more like
Hmm.
you know truncated take on it and all the things. Anyway, kind of bouncing back into more happy territory. So you shared this out, James Gunn. We're back on James Gunn again, but
Hmm.
so they
Yep.
released a mixtape.
Yeah, yeah, well, which is basically the soundtrack of the songs that are going to be in the movie. And my favorite band, Faith No More, they've got a song on there. We Care a Lot. So I was excited to see that just because I'm a huge fan of the band, and maybe that'll
Mm.
get the youngins into them because the kids always tend to like the soundtrack for these movies. So yeah, yeah. Any props for my band is good. But yeah, it looks like a solid lineup of eclectic songs for the soundtrack. Yeah,
Well, they've
and
always done a very good job of picking out,
hmm
and the music is just as iconic as the movie.
hmm
They complement each other very, very
hmm
well because I have fond memories of Fleetwood Mac and the first one, on some
hmm
other ones like that.
yeah. So
Even
I'm yeah, just makes me more excited for the movie. And then Also, I don't know if you've played it, but the video game of Guardian of the Galaxy is pretty fun too. They didn't do the likenesses from the movie because I guess they're telling more of a comic book story. But they did kind of bring in the aesthetics from the movie, and they include uh, songs as well, popular songs from the '80s and whatnot in the video game, which gives it kind of a feel of the movie.
Yeah, no, I never got into the. I didn't even know there was a video game for the Guardian
Yeah,
Galaxy.
yeah, it's pretty fun. I definitely recommend it.
Pretty cool. All right, I think we are going to go to go to Fantastic Four
Yep.
because
Yeah.
we also covered this John Burns run
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Four a couple shows ago, which you can
Mm-hmm.
also find in our back catalog.
Yep. Yeah. The key director Matt Shackman, who was behind WandaVision. But the cool thing is, Josh Friedman is the scribe on this. He just replaced, I think, a couple of writers that were on it. The writers before had more of a comedic slant to their scripts
Mhm.
previously, but this new writer Friedman, he's more of a sci-fi guy. He was the showrunner or on Foundation, and if you
Okay.
scroll down, it gives you a few more of the things he's wrote. Like he was on the Terminator, Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Okay.
He also wrote War of the Worlds with
Right.
Steven Spielberg. But yeah, yeah, the co-creator of the Foundation series shows. So yeah, and he also did the
It was a good
adaptation
show.
screen adaptation of Snowpiercer. So he has a more of a sci-fi slant, and the best Fantastic Four stories have always had a sci-fi slant to them. So I think this is the if you're going to hit it out of the ballpark, this is one of the players you want on your team, uh, and I think this bodes well for the Fantastic Four. Obviously we don't know how good it's going to be until it comes out, but yeah, I'm very happy to see this writer on there, and hopefully he can make a great script for us and finally give us that Fantastic Four movie that we always wanted.
Absolutely, yeah. And a shout out about Foundation on Apple TV. Was really I really enjoyed it. Was it amazing? No, but was it good quality? And I'm always looking for sci-fi for sure. So I'm happy to see this. I think I speak for a lot of folks when we just want to have a good, just like you want to have a good Superman movie, you want to have a good Fantastic
Hmm.
Four movie, and you know, I think that's
Yep.
imminently doable, hopefully. But
Yep.
and of course, people did like WandaVision.
Yep.
Wasn't a blockbuster success like their other movies or shows were, but it
Hmm.
was good in its own right.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
WandaVision and Loki are probably the two strongest smaller edge shows.
Hmm.
Although
Yeah.
I did really enjoy. I don't think you enjoyed it so much, but I did enjoy Moon Knight. Um, a,
Yeah.
a
I
little bit,
enjoyed it. Yep. Hmm.
yeah. The way they told it was kind of little kind of on a 12.5 degree tilt, so to speak. A little bit
Hmm.
kind of goofy at times, but for the most part, it was saved by the acting
Hmm.
by the main people.
Yep.
So
What Moon Knight really needed was a little small wacky alien to hang out with and
yeah,
maybe look
it's
after.
yeah. Speaking of that, apparently though, and I love it. I pulled this out just so I could hear you say wacky on this, but like that little wacky little baby
Uh-huh.
Yoda. Oh boy,
Yep.
little baby Yoda. He's coming back, and he might just talk one of these
He might
days.
talk.
So yeah, 50-year-old friggin' baby that can't talk yet. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, kind of good. I joke, but you know what? I have the stupid Grogu, whatever the hell his name
Mhm.
is, Baby Yoda. I liked it better when nobody knew his name and it was Baby Yoda. But I have a couple of those figurines or whatever. But yeah, so they say that he might. Not much to say here. It's just like that. Of course, he's going to talk. This is just to kind of get
Mhm.
eyeballs on the screen, and I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to really make too much of a difference, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. One of the articles I thought about adding on to here, which I'll mention here, is that the showrunner Favreau, John Favreau, there was an article where he said that there was no outside influences as far as Disney or Marvel or I mean Star Wars or anything that on this current season of Mandalorian. He hasn't been pressured by anyone to steer the story in any certain direction. So as far as he's saying he wasn't, his arm wasn't twisted to get that wacky Grogu back in the show. So evidently this is his vision and this is what he wanted us to see. So we'll see where it goes. Like I said, well, I was disparaging the show, but this last episode, the sixth episode will come out today, but we're recording this early, so we haven't seen that yet. But last week, episode 5 was actually pretty good. Grogu took a back seat, literally in the back seat of the plane, and didn't say much. He just made little faces every now and then. And but yeah, that episode was pretty good. There was another episode early on where half of it kind of focused in on one of the minor characters from a few seasons back, an Imperial Guard that kind of helped out the Mandalorian early on, and that was kind of like a self-contained little story, maybe a little seemed like a kind of a short film or whatever, which was entertaining as well. So they have some interesting stories to tell, but yeah, when they they focus on that wacky Grogu and becoming a Mandalorian, it gets a little. I'm going. Come on, let's get back to the actual story.
Yeah, yeah. The only criticism, and I noped out after the end of season 2, and I don't care to, and it's not love or hate. It's just I don't. There's nothing there for me to do, and like that's just kind of the classic problem that you get. Boy, howdy, you get to about the third season of something. And you know what I wanted to say? We haven't really covered it, and I haven't really watched it, and I need to because I've heard nothing but great praise around the Ted Lasso show on Apple TV, which is I have no idea, but they're getting a lot of praise because the third season is it. That's it. That's all she wrote. Yeah, you cut it off while it's still good, and then you move on. And you just have this thing. I don't know. I agree. When they stick to the storyline or there's a serious storyline, that's fine. But when you start to go back to filler, like where it's wacky baby Grogu, like in the manual, like all this stuff,
Yeah.
that's incidental. It kind of doesn't make sense, and it's like maybe maybe just end it. or do something if you're just going to have low quality things, or you're not using what I don't know, but and I think Last of Us is going to be maybe only 3 seasons too. I don't think that would. I don't think that they're going to have to do, and that'll be interesting how that when that happens. But nobody knows, of course, until we see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? If you like the Mandalorian season 3, more power to you. Like I know you're following along, and we'll check in periodically here if there's something to report. But I was gonna say I want to cover this, and then I wanted to kind of keep on the positive side before we kind of jump into a little bit more negative territory. I haven't seen this trailer yet, but I did. I just kind of came across my newsfeed today that caught my eye because I'm a big fan of Tenet. And I don't think we covered Tenet
No, I don't think
directly.
we didn't. Yeah.
We kind of talked around it, but that might be fun one day, maybe. Who knows? But we definitely both love Chris Nolan for sure, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
But Ben Affleck, I also love Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck Batman. He directed a little heist movie called The Town, which I love. I love that movie. It's a great friggin' action heist movie. It's not nothing, it's pretty good. It's got Jeremy Renner in it, and it's just very well done. But I'm excited to keep an eye out for this, and we'll see. So it's supposed to have some kind of mystery component, or kind of something a little bit different. So we'll see.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say, well, keeping the positive. Positive. You know what? No. Let's do this. Let's flush this out of our system, and then we can get to Martin Scorsese. But I saw this, and this is kind of proof of what I saw, which is this is exactly what happened to me. I think you were a little bit more forgiving, had a little bit more patience with this.
Yeah.
But we covered the first couple episodes. Of that, I watched the first episode for sure. But I didn't keep up with it because it was not, I was just wasn't whatever. But I did keep up with the YouTube blogosphere, so to speak, of the criticism around it, and I live vicariously also through your viewing of it. But apparently
Yeah.
that was backed up in the numbers, and that famously, and you kind of had a bone to pick with them, and I did too a little bit weeks later, for their stupid review system. Like, if you're a paying customer, you should be able to rate it openly and honestly. And there's they held those back. They actually completely changed their policy on how they do reviews and how they police them, and that was across all of Amazon, not just Prime. Because I had a bone to pick with them when I was I'm a big Audible subscriber, and I listen to a lot of books, and I was going to go leave a review, and it said that I had to verify or something, or like there was like a secondary
Right.
layer. It's like, you know what? Pardon my language, but fuck you. Like, eat shit. Like, if you think that I'm a paying customer and I can't give my 2 cents, which was a positive review, by the way,
Yeah.
I just infuriated me. I couldn't believe it. I don't really leave reviews on Amazon Prime stuff because I just watch stuff. I don't really do anything like that. But
Yeah.
I gotta say, and also IMDb is tied into Amazon because they own them. So, like, that's just kind of like, I think your point was, boy, take that with a big grain of salt. For all these things, like, how can I trust you if you're gonna do that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Like, where it's like, then you lose faith in the reviews that you see. And there's gonna always be a little bit of a delta between real people and their views and, critics. That's not new. But
Yeah.
this article was kind of going in on a little bit more of the metrics of it, and like, basically, people didn't return. So it's no wonder they're not really doing season 2. I haven't heard nothing about Rings of Power,
Um.
and I know you're just as plugged in as I am. I've heard a
Yeah.
little bit, but not like,
Yeah. I've heard they are doing a season 2.
oh,
They're
absolutely, yeah,
probably keeping it kind of low key at this point because at this point they don't want any bad press. So, but
right,
yeah, that if they're smart, they're kind of reevaluating and maybe changing things up. Hopefully, if not, I did talk to my friend Walter, who is a big Lord of the Rings guy that reads the books and kind of more very much into Tolkien and everything. And he watched. I don't think he's finished. He doesn't have Amazon Prime. He was watching it on his sister. Well, while he was visiting his sister. So I think he only got to watch a few episodes, but he was very forgiving. He's very much a normie, as we like to say. He's not plugged into the internet. He's not. He doesn't watch YouTube. He's not on. He's not eternally on Twitter. But yeah, just as a normie, he was enjoying the series. So
right.
which surprised me. But yeah, hey, you know, um, yeah, he obviously hasn't seen the whole season, so I don't know his full review. I will say I was able to finish the full season of Rings of Power, whereas Willow, I was very excited about seeing Willow, and I watched. I think the first 2 or 3 episodes and had to nope out because I couldn't take it anymore. I think when the end credits started rolling and they were playing a cover of a Metallica song, I said nope. I like
I don't
nope.
blame you.
I'm done.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Yeah, but I guess my point was, if this was a smashing success, that the hype machine that Amazon Prime or Amazon attempted to, because you got to go back in time, and then we covered this a long time ago. when I think Comic-Con was out,
Hmm.
they said that then there was reports that Lord of the Rings promo stuff was plastered everywhere. And I think Mega 64 is one that covered it, or went down there, that you recommended, at the time.
Yeah.
And they said something like, I can't remember if you said this or if they said this or whatever, but somebody said basically, whenever you see that, like that level of hype,
Hmm.
usually it indicates that the thing that they're hyping really hard is probably not going to be all that great. And that's not.
Well, what they said was when it's plastered everywhere, it never does any good. It never does well.
Right, right.
It's gotta it's there and then it disappears.
Right, right. But then the point being, if it had been as smashing as they wanted you to think it was, with all the review gate type
Mm-hmm.
things that they were doing, gatekeeping on that hard,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still gatekeeping to this day. But if it's good, it stands on its own. And
Mm-hmm.
if this were amazing and a smash hit like they want us to believe, then we would definitely be hearing news about, like you would hear it all over the place, just
Mm-hmm.
like we were hearing stuff all over the place, before anybody knew if it was good or bad or whatever. And of course, taste is in the, and if you liked it, that's great. There's nothing that's going to take it away. But they paid a lot
Yeah.
of money for it, and to have that. They were probably. I don't know that I would have done anything different. I mean, because you paid a lot of money for this, but of course, Warner Brothers famously a few weeks ago, about a month or two ago, maybe, they announced that they were going to revisit Lord of the Rings and do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to great outcry amongst the fans too, because there's like, please don't. I think was the consensus of like, just leave it be. Some other folks I think were a little bit more excited for that. Who knows? But of course, again, just kind of going back to what we were talking about with Disney, and Star Wars, they got in trouble for this a lot. What they would announce things and then nothing would materialize. So you can only
Yeah.
do that so many times before people are like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, like when you get on the merry-go-round, and if it's a property or sub part of the property that you are a big fan about, you're gonna kind of get tired after a while.
Yeah, it's
Any
the
fan
whole
would.
yeah, well, it's almost like there's a fable about that, in Crying Wolf or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that
I
and
think,
absolutely, you're right. No,
yeah, I think video game companies have learned this. The
yes,
fact of hyping
some have.
some hyping things for years. They've learned that if you announce something, the movies are probably the pipeline for movies are somewhat similar. Maybe not doesn't take as many years as video games. Video games can take up to 5-6 years to
Decade.
come out,
Yeah.
a decade, yeah, even. And they used to would announce them as soon as they started work on them, and people were excited. But it took 5-6 years to come out, and by the time it come out, it's like, oh, finally it's out, And the enthusiasm for that move or for that game was probably less than if they had announced it maybe closer to release. And they've started to do that. A lot of them have started doing that, even doing like drops, like, oh, there's that game you wanted, bam. And the excitement and that's generated by the excitement. Oh my gosh, this game's coming, just came out, or is coming out in a couple of months. That genuine enthusiasm, um, you can't you can't market that. I mean, that's just there. That's the excitement of the fans, and um, yeah, and sure that's probably the rumors of that game coming out or them working
Right.
on it is there too. But that's excitement too, and that's no guarantee. That them not announcing it lets you know that there's no guarantee it's going to come out. So yeah, so when it does get announced in a couple of months before it comes out, that's where the whole excitement builds up and explodes. And these TV and movie companies really need to learn that lesson. That when make sure film something before you even announce it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the just where the rubber meets the road because there's been all kinds, and I know you got caught up in it too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've died many deaths on the hype machine of a game or property you were really looking forward to, and
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden they release it, and really it's an alpha or beta version. And the
Mm-hmm.
kind of the rule of thumb was like if there was a really hype game, what you would want to do is you'd want to wait 6 months or a year and then come back in if it
Mm-hmm.
was still around, because that's usually when they fix all the issues. Because Cyber 2077 had that problem. Numerous games,
Mm-hmm.
Fallout 76 did quite a few years back. Like where it's just like, well, plus the people didn't like it too because it was nothing like, Fallout. They were trying to shove the online things
Mm-hmm.
like I don't mind that as an addition to the thing, but if you're a Fallout fan, I was very disappointed. I kind of fell off the wagon. It's like, well, I guess whatever. I'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back around when
Yep.
there's something there to look at. But
Yeah, there's two video games, just to go off on a tangent. There's two video game properties that I that meme of from Futurama, take my money please, that meme.
oh yeah,
um
Fry.
yeah, there's two video game franchise that would do that to me, that I would be overjoyed that came out. And one's coming out this year, and one of the reasons why I got a PS5, because it's only going to be on the new generations of systems, is the sequel to Alan Wake. That I love
Okay.
the original Alan Wake, and the other one you probably will never guess. So I'll tell you. I don't think this is going to happen. If it does, I'll be overjoyed. And it's a franchise that before I played it, I didn't realize that I'd be as crazy about it as I am. But Jet Set Radio.
All right. That's
I love that series.
that's
Those
cool.
two games are awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just love that gameplay.
Yeah, I am my brother-in-law. I vicariously live through him. Justin, shout out to you with the Rim World. I like to revisit that, and like he's kind of got me like one. I phase in and out of this stuff, but that one and then the Bethesda game, Starfield or whatever the hell it's called. Like
Oh yeah.
that's
Uh-huh.
supposed to be brand new IP from them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hope springs eternal. Like I really
Yep.
hope that's I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to a game like that. But you know what? I'm not gonna hold my breath, and I'm not gonna get it on opening day. I'm gonna wait a
Yeah.
few. I'm probably wait a
Yeah.
few months and see if it's garbage or if it's
Mm-hmm.
worth my money. So
Right. Yeah. Starfield. If it's a great game, yeah. I'm kind of hoping that it's not, just because I know my laptop would cry if I try to install it on it, and yeah, and it's not going to be on the PS5. It's going to be on the Xbox. So I'd have to entertain the idea of getting a Xbox Series S or X. So
yeah, I got the Series
I
S,
don't.
and I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with it. It's a good middle ground because I'm not a heavy
Mhm.
gamer. That's
Mhm.
my kiddos more
Yeah.
than I am, but it's kind of nice to have. I do like it, and like I think we were talking. The PSVR is probably going to make me get a PlayStation 5 sooner than later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
I've heard
really want to
very
get that
good.
VR too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard very good things, real world things of that. So like I think they're kind of assuming the mantle of like where Oculus fell off a cliff, Facebook Metaverse, whatever
Mhm.
the hell they're called. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. Nobody's there.
Yep.
Nobody plays it. Matter of fact, actually
Mhm.
that was a headline we didn't include in this week. But in the last, I think it happened last week. Disney pretty much axed their entire metaverse
Mhm.
division. Like they cut it all off. That's never a good sign when the number one entertainment media company, probably arguably in the world, says, you know what, we're not on board anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, that just kind of goes to the thing of like there's a lot of course correcting here, and it all doesn't matter if you like it or not or whatever, if you're a fan or not. All this is very good for the fan because you can only pump so much stuff through. And also, I think everybody around in the entertainment industry has learned, or they're getting a very hard lesson in: don't pick a fight with the fans. And negative, yes, you might have a short-term spike with like negative kind of publicity and interactions with the public, especially the fans. But over the long term, that will kill your franchises over and over and over again. If you keep picking fights with them,
Mhm.
don't do that. don't do that. Like this just kind of
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous amount of back and forth from them to us as fans.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that adversarial thing. And
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you also can't go all the other way over too and do everything the fans want, because I think Steve Jobs famously said, and I really disagree with this when I heard it, but he's famous for saying, well, the customer doesn't know what the customer wants. We tell the
Mm-hmm.
customer what they want. And to a certain degree, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a fine balance, and like,
Yeah.
man, stop picking fights with the
Well,
fans. Like
well,
you're
I think, well, if you give the fans what they want, you well, anytime you either buy a property, make a sequel to a property, you're banking on the real reason why you're doing that in a business sense is that you have those guaranteed fans, and those
sure
fans,
right.
if they enjoy it, they'll go out and tell their friends and their friends, and will pull in the normies, and that's how
Right.
you generate excitement and everything. And that worked to great effect for Top Gun Maverick,
Yep.
Avatar 2,
Yep.
and just recently John Wick 4.
Sure.
So you give now to now that it's very questionable if you do take a property that fans enjoy and then start making changes, because what you're doing is you're 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 going against what the fans want. And why did you
Yeah.
buy that? Or why are you using that property in the first
Right.
place if you're
And
going to piss off the fans?
yeah, and to piggyback and make a really tiny point on what you're saying is like we're not talking about like little changes that all
Mm-hmm.
directors, all creative, like when you
Mm-hmm.
format shift from one to another, there's going to be changes there. But what you're talking about is fundamentally changing the entire aesthetic
Mm-hmm.
or
Yep.
the whole underpinnings of the character. And
Yeah.
sometimes that could like every once in a while, if you flip like a minor, if you flip a bit, so to speak, on a minor
Mm-hmm.
character, like if you go for like let's say they were the, for example, like Dune. Okay, Dune. Keys was I can't think of the first name, but the character name was a male in the book series. But
Mm-hmm.
they flipped it to be a female in the movie, and it didn't really make a difference because that
Mm-hmm.
character was going to die anyway and died in the book, and
Mm-hmm.
it didn't matter so much. So
Right. Yeah.
like we're not talking about that, like we're talking about like
Mm-hmm.
major
Yeah.
big major like
Yeah.
She-Hulk or
Mm-hmm.
something like that,
So
like where
yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah. So you,
Daredevil.
mhm. So you're taking a bigger gamble when you do that. Now, if you have a vision, and now you really have to pull it off. You have to really stick the landing
Right.
if you're going to do that. Say like famously, a few decades back when they cast Michael Keaton as Batman, there was a huge uproar because Michael Keaton was known as a comedic actor.
Yeah,
Everybody was,
quantity comedian.
yeah, everybody. He just played Beetlejuice, for gosh sakes. How could he be Batman? But Tim Burton had a vision, and he pulled it off, and he won over the fans,
Mhm.
and it became a huge success. But when you do that, you really have to know what you're doing and pull it off well. If you're just making changes just for points, for
Internet points.
yeah, for internet points, or just to check boxes, and
Right.
there's not a artistic vision for it, then you're on very shaky ground. Whether or not,
Absolutely.
yeah, so you're kind of stacking yourself the cards against you when you're doing that. So yeah, it's there's been a lot of that. I don't know. Um, Hopefully things will start to shake out and people go more towards uh, uh, more of an artistic vision as
Right.
far as just changing things just to change them,
And
and realize what they're doing to the fans. And when you have an adversarial position against your fans,
yeah.
that is not doing you any service.
Yeah, and we had, and of course, we only can speculate, and we very rarely do this, so we're kind of taking a little bit longer stroke with this. But what I wanted to also emphasize too on that point is the fact of you have, if you're trying to shift demographics or whatever. Well, okay, let me back up. So like when you make these changes for apparently no reason, or maybe there is a reason, it invites speculation and it invites a gap, and that's where you fall right in line with like the woke, anti-woke, and then the fans start to, I mean, for Christ's sake, there's a whole cottage industry out with all these things, where there's the critics and they're like, what are they doing to my Star Wars, or what are they doing to my Marvel, or what are they doing to my DC, or whatever have you. It invites that speculation
Oh, looks like
of
Mike froze up a little bit there.
yeah, just wrap it up. You invite them to ask the natural question, which comes from that is, okay, if it's not an artistic vision and it's not related to the original IP, or we're just not, don't give a shit about the original IP anymore, or you have fans or creators that come on board that are not even familiar, didn't even care, because you're just going to write their own storyline, like they did with this Lord of the Rings. The showrunners were famous for saying, yeah, we want to respect it and give it, pay it homage or whatever, but then you come out with like, pretty much the writing room was like, all right, this original stuff, we don't care about it. Like you're inviting people to ask questions, which naturally invites, is this agenda driven? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not going to I'm not going to say it is. What I like to say is, I like to say, whether it's real or imagined, okay, you're not doing yourself any favors in the long
Yeah.
run. Like I said,
Yeah.
you'll get a short spike in attention in the short term, but over the long term, it's not good. It's not healthy.
Right. And point out, going back to my example of Michael Keaton's Batman, you also had, obviously you didn't have Twitter, Facebook back then, but the position of the people making it was just wait, just wait. Wait until you see it. They weren't being antagonistic to the fans. They weren't like,
No.
well, you're stupid for not letting Michael Keaton be Batman. You're you're Keaton phobic. You're a Keaton phobe for not liking, not accepting Michael Keaton as Batman. So
Right.
I'm just having a little bit of fun there. But yeah, there wasn't this. They didn't antagonize the fans. They were like, hey, wait, it's going to be good. Just wait. And so people were kind of hesitant about Michael Keaton being Batman, but they were willing to try it. Whereas now there's with Twitter and stuff. Unfortunately, some people that should probably kind of keep quiet aren't, and they're really riling up the fans with what they say. But yeah, that's all I was going to say about that.
Yeah, you have a mob mentality, thing. But and nobody like want. You know what? At the end of the day, nobody wants to see any of this stuff kind of get to that point. Wait, look, you just want to watch good, like whatever you're gonna do. And the thing that I love about your points in the past that you've made over and over again are, guys, you have, not just 10 years, you have 10, 20, 30, you have almost 100 years of content that you can go back and farm. You're going to tell me that, and they tried in comics, and from modern day all the way back to, like the golden age and the silver age and all the way to the back to the old golden days, they have covered just about every other kind of social commentary or culture across time. You can't tell me that you can't take something from that, put a creative spin on it, and then find what you're looking for, like where you can do both. Nobody questions anything about the internet points thing. If it's a good quality content, you just accept it, because again, like you were saying back in the day, hold on guys, just wait until you see it. Wait until you see it, and then we can go from there.
Yep.
So like somehow we lost that perspective
Yeah,
over time.
absolutely.
But yeah, at the end of the day, we just want good stuff to watch. Whatever. But anyway, kind of got a little long-winded there, but
Yeah.
it's just kind of it's always been bubbling up, And kind of as a segue, Martin Scorsese famously was quoted as saying, the Marvel movies are just kind of, they're not good. That's not a good thing. It's not healthy for movies and the
Yeah.
industry. But with that being said, we kind of slide into this news.
Yeah, he said they're theme park rides, but which
Yeah, he did.
which in a sense they sort of are, but yeah, everybody likes a popcorn movie here and there. Yeah, he's got his new movies coming out. Killers of the Flower Moon. It's reportedly going to be 4 hours long.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so and people are complaining on Twitter about the length. But you know, uh, yeah, with Martin Scorsese's movies, I don't know about you. I don't think I've seen any of them in the theater. So yeah, it's I think Apple bought this, so it's going to be on Apple TV.
Yep. And the last
It's
one was
mhm,
The Irishman, I think, was on
mhm, on
Netflix, which is
Netflix.
also
Yeah,
really long,
yeah,
which I did
yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah. I enjoyed The Irishman. I was going
Yep.
to like you like to do. I was going to break it up
Yep.
into small chunks to watch it. I enjoyed it so much. I watched the whole thing all in one sitting.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
one.
no, I didn't have any complaints about the length of it.
Yeah, there's a difference between like super high quality material that you want to sit and watch through, and then
Hmm.
ones that are maybe good but they're not that good. And
Hmm.
what I did when we covered the Batman with Matt Reeves, or yeah, Matt Reeves Batman, right? Yeah, he
Hmm.
was the
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
And then one of our favorite guys, Patrick,
Uh,
Robert,
Robert Pattinson.
yeah, Robert Patterson. Thank you. Good
Uh-huh.
God, I can only remember so many friggin' actors. But anyway, I
Yeah.
broke that up over 3 viewings, and
Mhm.
my understanding was that people that when it kind of gets a little long. It's good, but it's just too long. But when I'm glad I broke it up because I really enjoyed it. That's kind of the
Mhm.
way. It's just kind of funny how the binge watching kind of affected everything, and the release schedule, it kind of broke across Hollywood.
Yeah.
Where if you do it with that, but like I still, I mean, it's Martin friggin' Scorsese. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna presume. I'm not gonna pretend to tell this man anything. So if he wants to make a 4 hour vision, I'm with it. It's probably gonna be worth your time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and like I said, a lot of people complain about the length of Irishman, but yeah, if you were sitting in the theater and watching it, I could see maybe the length could be a problem. But yeah, I like I said, I watch these at home, so not a big deal for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna complain one
Yep,
iota
yeah,
of
yeah,
I don't give a shit. Like I want to see it. And everybody else hush up.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
This may be the finally why I get Apple TV. Although Criterion did a really nice version of The Irishman on physical media, so I might wait for the physical media version of this movie.
oh, they're gonna
Uh,
release it if it's
yeah,
$59 or whatever
yeah,
it is. Like they're they're
yeah.
they're they're not gonna just put it on streaming only. Like that's also a
Hmm.
level, a marker or indicator of quality of if it's like it's kind of like the old school direct to video, like
Yeah.
bypass the theater. Like that's kind of like the Disney had
Mhm.
they perfected that system and they continue to run
Yeah.
in the same kind of the same loop. The only difference is
Hmm.
the format shifting. But anyway, with that being
Yeah.
said, yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know that he had new movies coming
Yeah, I
out.
didn't either.
It's awesome. I think that kind of brings us up to our recommendation part
I
of the
think so.
show.
I think so.
If you wanted
Uh,
to, yeah, I only had one and you had a few. So, or,
okay.
or
Yeah.
what did you want to cover? I think you wanted to
Yeah.
cover cart
Oh.
before we do recommendations. Did you want
Yeah.
to cover this one too?
Um. Oh no. The video for it. The Matt Orchard. Right above. Yeah. Yeah. You have it. Yeah. That one right there. Yeah. Matt Orchard came out with a video today called "This is what a lazy bone looks like." It's kind of an overview of the Cart Narcs channel, and basically what Cart Narcs are is I think a few different individuals, but they go around to parking lots and um, get onto people that leave their carts in the in the instead of putting it into the cart corral, they go around and just leave it there. And in Matt Orchard's documentary here, he actually talks about. I didn't realize this, but he said in 2021 there was, I think it was 32 or 34 deaths accounted for shopping carts, and and a lot of dinged vehicles as well. I think he said 200,000 car damaged from those from a year. So yeah, they are a bit of a menace, especially if something is in the cart and a strong wind takes it, like shown right there. And that runs into an individual that could cause some damage. So yeah, that's where he talks about the damage. But so yeah, the cart narcs. He spotlights a couple of their videos. I Someone had already recommended this channel to me. I hadn't checked it out yet, but yeah, it was fun to watch this, and then that inspired me to also and Matt Archer's channel I've recommended on here before. He does a lot of crime content on his documentary style stuff. He's definitely worth watching some of his back catalog stuff. But yeah, so yeah, if you wanted to click over to the Cart Narcs channel, that's my recommend for the YouTube video selection. But yeah, basically each episode they're about 10 minutes a piece. He goes through and it's like, hey man, don't be a lazy bone. Put up that cart. He waves down people driving away, leaving a cart. Some people go, oh, my bad, and they get out and put it away. But yeah, there's some people that argue with him. They say they're either too busy, they're disabled, various things. In the Matt Orchard video, there's this one lady that had parked in the disabled or handicapped spot, and she was saying that she was disabled, and she had a little thing in the her window saying she's disabled. But as the cart narc pointed out, she had actually walked around all over Walmart and got out to her truck and was able to put all of her stuff into her car or her truck, but couldn't take the extra step to just walk that cart over into the thing. And he goes, and you're leaving it in the handicap area where some people that were maybe a little bit more disabled than you are, that that you're providing an obstacle for them. Why didn't you? And he was the cart narc was a little spicy with her, and at the end of the altercation, she chased him with some mace, and he quickly ran away. But yeah, in one of these videos, someone actually pulled a gun on him, so it's not not a safe thing to do. So yeah, they get a little upset with him sometimes. He also has a bumper sticker. It's magnetized, so it doesn't hurt the car. That says, "I'm a jerk. I'm a jerk. I didn't put away the cart." And some of them get a little upset with him for putting that on their car. But yeah, it's a fun channel to check out, especially if you like to see people get a little hot under the collar for doing something bad.
Yeah, as a dad who had to juggle a couple kiddos of different ages as they grew up, I never had a problem.
Yeah,
Putting the cart away.
always.
And,
yeah,
I mean, and the other thing too is like, unless it's like super busy and you just whatever the parking is, like you luck of the draw, I guess. But like you can always park. I don't know about you, but if I do go to the grocery store, usually I try to go when there's not as many people. Like most folks.
Yep.
And when I do, like if I want to feel lazy, then I'll park closer to the cart corral. Or it's
Right.
not
Yeah.
that hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's usually what I did. I'd park a little further out and buy one of the cart corrals just because I don't want to. Yeah. I know I get very frustrated with drivers sometimes, and yeah, the further away I can get away from humanity sometimes is the better.
Yep. And it's if you park a little bit farther away, I don't mind walking a little bit
Yeah.
further
Yep.
for
Absolutely.
for peace and tranquility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a famous meme of like you can judge society based on who puts their carts away
Hmm.
and who doesn't. It's kind of a famous
Hmm.
one I've seen over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. There.
yeah.
You made me think of. There's like this a hitchhiking robot that they came up with, and they tested him in Canada, and he made it from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, hitching rides from travelers. And nice Canadians, they helped him along, got him all the way to the West Coast. They tried the experiment in America, in the East Coast, and I think he got mugged and trashed in the streets of Philadelphia.
Yeah,
He didn't make it far at all.
yeah, and of course you're talking about like Canada, the population of Canada, not area size, but that's
Uh,
about the size of like one of our states, more
yeah.
populous states like a Texas or a California. Of course, but 30 million people, it's going to be a little bit more different story, a little bit more neighborly than 300 million fools across the U.S.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah. Oh, and I wanted to kind of go to your comic book pick of the week,
Yep.
or this is
Yeah.
one you recommend, obviously.
Yep. Yeah. Mark Millar and Frank Quietly. This is a dynamic duo. They
Okay.
do some great work. They also have worked together in the past. This is a kind of a cool story. Basically, it starts with a drunk monkey with telekinesis and gets more interesting from there. But yeah, so this lady has developed superpowers. She's in South Korea. I won't spoil the whole story, but basically, she has this formula for creating superheroes, and she's made herself a superhero. And she's putting a call out to the various countries, various political groups, to the 5 different continents, and saying, okay, you all get to pick a one person to be a superhero from your
Oh wow.
continent, and come here, and I'll make them a superhero, and we'll protect the Earth with our superpowers. and
Nice.
uh, and she has an ex husband that tried to steal her ideas, and had um, framed her for murder, and she was in prison. I won't tell you how she got out of prison and whatnot, because
Mhm.
that's kind of the fun of the story. But yeah, so there's a little bit of intrigue with her ex husband as maybe a villain. But yeah, I don't know if this is a limited series or if it's going to be an ongoing series. But yeah, it's really entertaining. Like I said, it came out last week. I don't know how popular it was. You may have trouble getting it if you want a physical copy, but it's definitely there on digital, and it's probably going to be one of those good ones to wait for a collected edition for a graphic novel that collects the first few issues. So yeah, definitely take a look for that. And this is part of the Mark Millar's his universe of stuff, and he's got to deal with Netflix, so this could potentially become a series later on.
Yes, I think I saw a headline about that or whatnot. It talked about I wasn't familiar, but I noted that they were wearing obviously security costumes and
Hmm.
the flags. I think is what I saw, but I think they were all flying or something in the
Hmm.
little thing I saw for Netflix. But just read the headline, didn't really get into it. Okay, so that's what this is based on. That's cool. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out on the digital side because it looks intriguing. And
Hmm.
then shifting up, I only have one recommendation. I recommended this dude a little bit ago, but I really enjoy his content. He kind of takes an everyman approach to just about everything that's going on. He renders opinions, hot takes, so to speak, that really aren't all that hot, but they're very well thought out. And he kind of just kind of points out the factual obviousness from the from an everyday kind of John Q. Public
Mhm.
persona, as a dad too, and he's bit my ear, and I've liked what I've heard, and I think he's on point. And he's not.
Mhm.
The thing I like about him is he's kind of like what we do. We don't really dip. I think he gets a lot more in the weeds on the culture war side, or the culture part. Not even culture
Mhm.
wars, but just the culture side. Like that
Yeah.
you're naturally going to come into contact with if you're a normie.
Yeah.
But he takes a he doesn't do not everything is like negative, right? So these guys that are out there that like I alluded to them before, sometimes like they can be entertainment too, but sometimes like,
Mhm.
man, I don't want to hear like, okay, for example, that Blue Beetle trailer or whatever, like the critic machine or the negative sphere was already cranking up videos about like certain aspects. I'm not going to go into it, but like one of the guys I like is like, I don't want to hear something negative all the friggin' time. Like
Mhm.
I want to hear what I can watch, or or what I should watch, that's of good quality and value, and
Mhm.
he's right down the middle. He likes, I think, him and I align on The Last of Us, like, although I kind of fell off after I didn't see the very last episode of The Last of Us because I
Mhm.
kind of lost interest,
Yeah.
which was going to happen, and I noted
Mhm.
that, but I did come in a little bit more on the
Mhm.
not negative side, but like kind of like, I don't know, I just play the video game if I want, and I'm gonna do that, definitely for my own entertainment
Mhm.
value, but he calls them good balls and strikes, and I just get great. He again, this goes back to my observation or my rule of thumb that I like to say, which is, yes, you're gonna find good quality with the YouTubers who have like millions upon millions or million plus, whatever. But there's a
Mhm.
sweet spot. There's a sweet spot, like where they're starting out, like where they're 10K or even less, and then they just dial up, and then they just hit the
Mhm.
friggin' they go to the moon.
Mhm.
That was true with the Solid JJ, which is what I recommended a while ago. I think he's over a million now. I think when I recommended, he was not. I think he was half that. But very quickly,
Mhm.
like when they make good quality, they it just kind of spins up.
Yeah.
But this is that golden age, like when a channel is on the come up, and of course channels fumble it all the time, but
Mhm.
I think we're going to be seeing and hearing from him as time goes on, and it's just good.
Yeah.
Like I said, 95% of my entertainment is YouTube, or YouTube adjacent, that sort of
Mhm.
thing, if we're not covering or watching our favorite shows
Right.
here or there, or reading our books and other things
Mhm.
too, but
Yeah.
just a shout out to Greg Owen, and I'll add on the thing, but
Mhm.
always looking for that. And you have I need to make a list at some point and put it on our website when we revamp it with all our YouTube
He
links.
recommends. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is a good thing. I think we're coming up to
Okay.
the end of the show. Do you have anything else or that we
I think
missed?
that covered everything.
Yeah, I think we'll end on the the donation side
Mhm.
of the house, and say, if you if you can, um, by the time this comes out, people are still going to be needing help, and we wanted to make sure that people can get that help. Or if you have
Yeah.
a few pennies or whatever, there's many
Mhm.
ways to give. You don't just have to give money.
Yep.
You can donate. Donate blood.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. I encourage
Yep.
anybody to.
Yeah.
I have
And
in years past.
yeah. And if you are kind of inspired but want to just do something to wherever you are locally, that's fine. Yeah,
Absolutely.
every city, every town needs a little help here and there. So there's homeless all over. There's different things going on. So yeah, find something that you are passionate about and to help out with it.
Yeah, and one of the fun things that I like to people don't talk about too much is like, wherever you live, like you were saying, any town there is out there, you have your local schools, your elementary schools and middle schools and high
Hmm.
schools, and they always have a program where you can help pay for lunch. They can have a lunch fund for the
Yep.
kids that need the help, and it's anonymous, or if you're a business, that's a good way to get your name out there too and do a little bit of
Hmm.
goodwill. I've seen that be pretty popular. But anyway, you can give would be great. makes the world a little bit better.
Yeah.
Makes life a little bit easier for folks. And I don't know about you, but boy, if I was in a situation and I could get a little bit of a helping hand, I'm not going to turn that away for sure. But there
Yeah,
go I.
absolutely.
But anyway,
Yep.
rolling up on the end of our show here. I've been Mike, and like we said, we have a growing back catalog. Check out our last few shows.
Yep.
Yeah,
Our last one was on Scott Pilgrim. Definitely check that one out
absolutely.
and take a look at that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. Don't be a lazy bones.
Put your card away.
Put your card away.